we have on this day one of the most magnificent parts of the Old Testament. It has since been much meditated upon and even put to music. For everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven. Time to be born, a time to die. Many are these juxtapositions of extremes. Life is rich, and indeed variety is the spice of life. Time to mourn, the time to dance. Time to seek, time to lose. How much time on earth is spent looking for lost objects? Time to keep silence. How many haven't got time to keep silence? And a time to speak. When speech comes out of silence, it is far more powerful. Some hurt others because they talk too much and are heavy to bear. It is a secret to know just how much to speak. The ministry of keeping silence with Jesus and with friends is, alas, not known. Time for war, time for peace. My father had to go to the war, and my grandfather to the Great War. Many did not come back. We, at least for the moment, are not at war, although there is still now unease on this planet. What will happen in that whole area of Asia? Question mark. He has made everything beautiful in its time. The action done at the right time is meritorious. At the wrong time, there is demerit. One can be working for the demon by doing the action at the wrong time. Also, He has put eternity into man's mind, yet, so that he cannot find out what God has done from the beginning to the end. Time is a measure of movement. Before any object existed, but only the Blessed Trinity, did time exist? There was no movement. Time, once we're on the other side, is of a different nature anyway. In the Purgatory manuscript, which was translated years ago from French, this question was asked by the living nun to the one on the other side that she was trying to help. And the answer came back that it is another dimension, and that one only understood it when one was there. God, being outside time as we know it, is able to see all time. He can see that one cause will have one effect, and the cause and effect of that will be another, and on it will go. But if another cause and effect come in between, it will be another sequence of historic events. We have power in certain points of time to influence all time. One thinks of moments like accepting or refusing a proposal of marriage, or accepting or refusing a proposal of grace, to consecrate oneself entirely to the Lord. They are moments over other moments with power to change all time. And there are moments also for an individual in which all eternity can be in the balance. I remember hearing this from a great preacher in Wales years ago in a powerful Welsh sermon. That it was Henry Drummond, a great preacher, who was preparing a soul for death in the slums of London. This person had given himself to the wrong side, drunkenness and all that went with it. And he was delirious. But the good preacher calmed him down and invited him to give himself to the Lord. To give your life to the Lord, my brother. The Lord Jesus died for you. And he, after a pause, said, "No, I won't give the dog end of my life to God." Soon afterwards, he was on the other side. But so many moments are cosmic in importance. Haven't a clue what happened to his soul. May God have mercy upon him and save him. But it's not the best way to go, to refuse what is on offer and still lucid. Some years ago, one had oftentimes more access to the sound of time. Clocks would be heard. I remember in the chapel that I grew up in, it would be in the chapel, but also in the vestry where prayer meetings were held. A clock. One would hear time passing in those solemn moments of prayer and silence. Even as a child, I remember climbing up to see the fingers of the grandfather clock to my grandparents. It's still at home now in my brother's place, but there you could actually see the movement of time on the long finger because the face of the clock was so big. Therefore it would go a tiny bit forward at each tick and a tiny bit back, but a little bit more forward than back. So on time would go. And the sound of the seconds were in the tick. There's a monastery near here, a Cistercian monastery, Mellifont. Until recently there was for years a clock, and that was the only sound that one would hear in the Abbey church. Time passing. If one imagines that each tick corresponds to a second, it can help one to reflect. There is, in 1 year, 12 months, a very large number of ticks, of seconds. To be precise, it is 31,536,000 ticks, if a tick is a second. And yet, as I've just pointed out, some ticks are so big in their tick that they can swipe away or save all eternity. Because some are dying. In fact, 2 are dying every second on this planet, roughly. And how many of those ticks fall well? A retreat is a time actually to hear the moments passing and to see how they're passing. I remember years ago in retreat in Italy, it was in November, in the mid-90s sometime. I wrote these while looking at the clock, because the clock was important for getting up and for other things. A simple battery clock. It is the face of time. And I looked at it and it looked at me, It almost seemed to warn me. So I wrote back to it, "Oh, little face, unconscious, yet awake, tick on upon a plenitude of time, and tick again, until it take but yet another tap, to make thee chime the knell of all thy calling. Call anon upon a soft oblivion, call the dream of this the morphined soul that lingers on, and clap from slumber wade the alarmed gleam. O gong of sudden looking, bliss and pain lie in the crack of ages, in a sound that came but one more time, that came again and ne'er again. For wound 'twas hither bound, to tap no more the merriment of ease, and moments travel far